Hello, everybody. My name is Brad Beatty, and today I'll be doing a full critical analysis for you on this particular photo. So first, start with the introduction. Alfred Eisenstein. He is the photographer of this particular photo. He is German-American. He was born in West Prussia in 1898, which was then undertaken by Germany. And he later moved to America and passed away there in 1995. Some information you might want to know about him that kind of influenced his works or the way that he worked. When he was in his 14th birthday, he received his first camera from his uncle. His interest in it dwindled pretty quickly, so that didn't really spark his interest in photography. It was actually much further down the line. In 1927, when he was 28, 29 years old, that's when he really became interested in photography, when he learned about the Erminox, which was a certain camera invented by a fellow German, Erich Salomon. This camera was compact and worked well with available light, and it was just perfect for candid shots. And that's what Eisenstein ended up working with a lot, were candid shots. So he ended up taking his first photograph with it later in 1927 on a vacation in Czechoslovakia, and he sold that photograph for $3 to a German weekly. And he was just fascinated by the idea that he could make money off photography. So that just sparked his interest even more. So he started taking even more photographs and later left his job as a button and belt salesman to pursue photojournalism full-time. He later moved to the States and was one of the first, I believe, 4 photographers of what then became known as Life magazine. So now, just some background information on this photo and what's happening. It's called VJ Day in Times Square, and VJ Day stands for Victory Over Japan Day. At this time, news was announced that Japan had surrendered, and therefore it was the end of World War II. And hence the title. This photo was taken in Times Square, New York. This sailor was actually going around kissing multiple women, according to articles, as he was slightly drunk. And Eisenstein saw him and began following him. And one moment he saw him grab another person, so Eisenstein turned around and took this photograph, which I found that to be pretty amazing, and now it just kind of symbolizes what everybody was feeling at the time. Now, I'm going to go into the description of the photo. First, I'm going to start with time. And the time of this photo is really amazing. It's very skillful of how Eisenstein got this particular moment, where their lips are locked, her back is, basically perfectly arched, and it's just a beautiful pose. And just the timing of capturing this defining moment, decisive moment, was just amazing. Next, talk about light. The lighting here looks like it's natural lighting. Looks like this light's coming from above, and so it's shining on just about everything. It's a very soft light. You don't really see many harsh shadows at all. You see some back here on the building, but it's not very harsh. It's just very natural, and all right here is just very soft. Next, I will move on to focus. Actually, something I did leave out. For light, I said it was very soft light. It looks like it was coming from above. Well, based on my research, Eisenstein actually loved using natural lighting, which is perfect for the cameras that he used, because they're good for candid shots of using natural lighting. So that was particularly interesting to that. So next I'll talk about focus, and here you can notice that the 2 subjects are in a little more detail than everything else around them. I mean, you can see like the facial hair on his face right there, and you can just See the little shadows of his hand, where his hair is on his hand and wrist and arm. Everything else around is a little bit less in depth, some less focus. But right here, it's the focus of the entire thing, and it's nicely defined. And lastly, I'll talk about framing. When I originally saw this photo, I thought it wasn't actively framed at all. Not because it was a bad photo, but because learning about Eisenstein, he was a photojournalist. And so he took what a lot of people might describe as snapshots. Like, he didn't technically consider himself an artist, but I think he was probably leaning more on like documentation type of side of things. But after looking at things, I would say this photo is definitely framed, actively framed. Um, the two subjects are in the middle of the picture. And he also did a good job of revealing kind of where this whole picture is taking place. So for those that know Times Square, know New York, they would probably be able to identify, oh, okay, this is Times Square. So I think the framing of this was actively framed, and he did a great job. So now time to move on to interpretation. So I think Eisenstein wanted to reveal through this picture the excitement and the relief and the joy and just all of the energy that was going through not just Times Square, not just these two subjects right here, but all of America at the release of the news that World War II has finally come to an end. I could be wrong. He could have just taken a picture of these two people, and I thought it was a beautiful picture. But I think the reason why it became so famous, so well known, is because it just embodies how everybody was feeling at the time. And I really think that's what Eisenstein was going for. Now to move on to evaluation of the photo. Eisenstein did a fantastic job in portraying the excitement and all the energy that America was feeling at the release of the end of World War II. If he had not been as close to the subject, I don't think it would have embodied the excitement everybody had. Otherwise, it would look just like a mob of people on the street. But here you see the two subjects and who kind of embody everything everybody else is feeling, and then you see everybody else behind. And so it just kind of incorporates everything together of how everybody was feeling. So this is my critical evaluation for you of VJ Day in Times Square.